Hi, okay, this will be a walkthrough of me editing videos for a virtual orchestra, like a multi-track. I'm asking my students to play Lightly Row and Can and put it into Flipgrid, and then I can download the videos and put them together on the screen at the same time using some video editing software. As long as they're all playing exactly with the steady beat, it should work-ish. And if they're a little bit off, I can cut their video and scooch things around. And it's very labor intensive and kind of like annoying, but boy, if it gets them to play because they're like, "Oh, I want to be a part of the next multi-track video." I'm trying to get kids to play because I think there's not a lot of playing happening. So hopefully a project like this might get them playing their instruments. That's the plan, and that was probably too long of an introduction. So we go to Flipgrid. So your Flipgrid page has, where kids have uploaded these videos, recorded them at home, listening to the track, and playing along with it. Got to have headphones on because you don't want to record the sound of the accompaniment track. You just want to record the sound of their instrument, but they have to have the track in their head to stay steady. So I'm doing Lightly Row as a first example. And look, David J has turned in 5 videos. That's amazing. And I'll blur these kids out, but thank you, student, thank you, student, thank you, student, thank you, student. And this student somehow entered like 5 and none of them work. I don't know what's going on there. And then the thank you, student, thank you, student. So what I'm going to do is download these videos. So I'll download actions, download video. And there's no quick way to do this. You have to do each one by itself, I think. I haven't found a faster way. So click
download video, close. And here's where I start to use keyboard. Download video, control F4. That kills the tab. Download video, control F4. And then last one, I think that's all the ones I have. And I'll use just me today so I can create a video that
So this is rolling, and
okay,
now
now
on my accompaniment.
started myself. I think I downloaded that last one.
So I've got them all downloaded, and they're in my downloads folder, which is, if you don't know where that is, it's on this PC downloads. I've got all my home network stuff. It's just annoying. I don't know how to make all those go away. Either way, it's on your PC, right? And you find your downloads. So you've downloaded these photos. If you can't see them, of course, you change the view. If it was like list and they're like this alphanumeric string, that's annoying. How come it doesn't say David J, then 59E7E?
1D87
Why not? David J would be nice to have there. Flipgrid, thank you. Film Express. HitFilm is like a free version of popular video editing software. You could use iMovie, or there's other free versions out there that work. It's on my other screen here. And so it doesn't really matter what you use, but I know how to use HitFilm. I've been learning a little bit of this actually before the COVID pandemic closures. I've been learning a lot about this type of thing and doing audio and video work before this. So let's see. I want it. This is always the tricky part because you're like, wait, what is all this project settings stuff? And it's different than I'm used to. I want to say what template. I'm gonna make it. That's too much information again. Sorry. 720 is probably what we want. And we say, okay, start editing. And the HitFilm people have a lot of really good videos out there. So if you want to learn how to use it, that's how I've learned, is just watching people's videos. Like, how do you do this? And I didn't always find the answer right away, and it wasn't always easy, and it doesn't always work. But in the end, I usually find a way. I'm going to then, this is how the video software works as far as I use it. Import the files that I want, which is in my downloads, and I'm going to import all of them. So I just go Control A, right? There's another way to do that if you didn't know. Shift click highlights everything from one to the next one. Okay, so Control A, I'm going to take all of them, I open them all, and it takes a second to upload them into this little media thing over here, and it conforms the audio. And when you're dealing with multiple videos like this, your computer might freeze a lot if it's not a very powerful computer. This one is medium. It's kind of an old laptop that was good back in the day, my dad's old laptop. Thank you, Dad. And it's pretty powerful compared to just a standard box I have at home that I was using before. Long story short, be prepared to save your work because it might explode on you. Not literally explode, but the program will crash. So I'm going to take one of them and put it into the timeline. I just clicked and dragged it over here, and it'll bump around to different places. So you want to make sure it goes into video track 1. And I'm going to leave it off to the side a little bit to make room at the beginning, because I'm going to have to move things around back and forth, I'm sure. So it doesn't have to be right at the beginning. It always says this, and you just say yes, because it changes the settings to match your project settings, the frames per second, the bit rate, the resolution, all that stuff. So this is, if you grab this thing, it'll slide through your project, and here we go. As long as you're on viewer up here, not layer or trimmer or viewer. The viewer is the thing that tells you what your project looks like. So you can slide through it and hear what it is. It's not very happy going through this already, so we might have some issues.
Of your song.
I hit spacebar to play.
Right? Going through on the recording. So when I'm making this Flipgrid recording...
This was the first Flipgrid that I made that I was talking through for kids and recording it for the kids to see what the process is like. So I'm going to have to trim this one. I should do it in the trimmer. But I usually don't bother. I usually do it here. But usually most people would do it in the trimmer. That's another lesson. So I'm going to jump to where I start playing.
On the smart music, and I know that my video is still recording. Ready, go.
Okay, so right before I was playing it, okay, and then on the keyboard there's a lot of things that help in this program. J is backwards. K is stop. L, so J, K, and L make you speed up and slow down. So you can go backwards. If you hit J two or three times, it'll go backwards fast. And K stops. So that kind of zooms you through, or of course this too, but it helps to hear the audio. So if I don't know where I am and I'm like, I got to go forwards a little bit. L, 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 and K. Okay, and then I'm going to go back a little bit. J, and K stops. So I'm going to cut it right there. So to change it to cut, I need to make sure I'm in the editor tab down here. This is usually where it is. But if I'm in the viewer mode, I can't do these functions. I can't cut the video around. So make sure I'm in the editor mode, and I hit C for cut, and it changes it to a little X-Acto blade. Oh, my font, my cursor's being funny, but it should turn into this little X-Acto knife blade that cuts it right here. So when you drag over the line, it says, okay, you want to cut it right at the place that you were stopped? Yes, cut. So now there's two separate clips. If I drag my playhead away, you can see there's a separation there. So V, then V, the letter V changes to the selector, V. And if you, as far as keyboard shortcuts, it often tells you what the keyboard shortcut is. You see that little V there? So that will select this and delete it. So now that I know that I have just mostly the song at the beginning, and in fact, I want to undo that because I want a little bit of a pre-roll. I want just a little bit of sound before it. You'll see why in the end. So Control Z is undo. So that moved it back over. Undo again. Control Z. That brings back the clip I lost. Control Z again. And now it's changed that cut. It's removed that cut. I think I want it here.
This is the cello I learned.
Okay, right about there. And I press C for cut, and you can see that the cut is highlighted there. My cursor doesn't change, but your cursor will probably change to a actual X-Acto blade knife. And so then V to select that, and then I hit delete, and that part is gone. So I've got just that part. Now I'm going to add another one on top of it, and this is where it gets sort of tedious and tricky. I'll probably do a time lapse here after I do the first one. So I'm going to click the second one, and that's where it'd be helpful to have these labeled with their kids' names, or to have different pictures, of course. They kind of do. So I click and drag over here, and I'm going to put it above. So you have to kind of like go above it to make a new track. So this is on video track 2. And here's where having a big monitor or 2 monitors really helps, because you need some more room sometimes. Now, they're not lined up at all, and you can see the computer's getting really slow already with 2 videos.
Go.
Now, right now, video 1 is on the top, or video 2 is on the top because it's the newest one, and you can only see that. But if you make them smaller, so you click on the viewer, on the the picture there, and you drag this handle, and you have to press Shift. Otherwise, it'll do the, oops, that's not what I want, undo, Control Z. Control Z is the most powerful thing in computing, right? Well, maybe. If I click on that handle and I do and I change the size of the video, it makes it look funny, right? Squishy. So I don't like that, so undo, Control Z. If you hold Shift, it keeps it the same ratio. Okay, so I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to make this one smaller too. Oops, it's really picky about exactly where I grab it. There. And there. So I've got 2 videos going, and if I press play now, you can see them both going. I'll try and zoom in a little bit.
Okay, I'm hitting play on the smart music, and I know that my video is still recording.
Here, see how it's all fuzzy? It's because the computer can't play so many videos at once. I probably will be only able to do 2 of them, 3 of them at a time, maybe. But what you do is you make 2 or 3 of them, and you leave blank space for the rest of them, and then you bring that picture in, and you add more on top of it, and it worked okay in the experiments I've done. They're definitely not synced together, are they?
Yeah. Okay, I'm hitting play on the smart music, and I know that my video is still recording.
Let's hear where they are anyways. It's pretty close, though.
Go.
So pretty good. So I was doing a little viola impression up there in thumb position on the cello. The way we'll line them up is actually using the audio. So I want to click on make sure I'm on my editor, because did you hear me moving my mouse wheel? I was trying to scroll up and down to see the different audio and see them well, but I wasn't on this spot, so it didn't let me scroll around. Oh, and I see both of them together. This one doesn't have any sound. Why do I not see the picture of the waves here? So what I want to do is line up the waves of the sound, which is funny, I usually should see in that green audio. That helps a lot to see the visual. So if I hit Control and I use the scroll in, you can also use the slider down here, and there's other there's other keyboard strikes too. Why do I not have the audio spikes for this one? Okay. Then I guess I'll just try, sometimes just sliding things around works. So I'm just going to make sure I'm clicking the select button, and I'm going to drag, which one started first?
Okay, I'm hitting play on the smart music, and I know that my video is still recording.
Get in here.
Go.
Okay, so I saw that one started there. I'm going to move this one over. Okay, this is 2 started after, so 1 needs to be scooted forwards. So let's see what happens if I just I just grab video number 1, see video audio 1. I really don't know why I don't see the audio there. Okay, totally late now.
And go.
Aha! So they're not perfectly together, but if you're staying with the metronome, at least you won't drift faster or slower overall because you're playing with the recording in your head. And it's super close. If I zoom in and I see the actual spikes, I wish I could see this. I don't know why I don't see it. Louder? No? Okay, undo. Either way, this is the basic process, lining them up bit by bit. Once you've got more than 2, it gets a little trickier, but so I'll just say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make them about this big, and I'll probably shift and drag. I'll probably put them like this, and move this over. So clicking on the arrows makes them stay on that vertical plane. Otherwise, you can just click them around and you don't know exactly where you are. Doesn't really matter. Put it in there. Close enough for this experiment. To add the third video, let's see if it makes the computer crash. Oh, we haven't saved our file yet. Bad, bad, bad. So file, save, because it will crash on you when you're doing multiple video projects like this. And I'm going to say, I usually put it on my desktop. Okay, and I'm going to name it A, because that's fast. So I've saved the project, so in case if it crashes, I can go back to it. So save regularly. Control S, as in save, is the best way to do that with a keyboard. So I'll add another video on top of that. Now the trick here, actually I'm not going to add that yet, I need to zoom out. So Control, scroll wheel, or slide this mountain slider down. That way I can see kind of where it starts and place this one better. So up above, when you just slide it forwards, it creates a new track for you. This one is really long. Why is this one really long? This one has 2 parts in it. Okay, I will cut this one and add it in again later. Maybe I can do 4. So you saw it's full size. You want to shrink it down. We hold Shift, grab that handle, and shrink away. See how the computer's getting very slow. I'm also recording myself doing this too, so I'm taxing my computer pretty heavily. Undo, because it didn't work right. It seems like I might have reached the limit. Maybe just 2 for now. Shift, Control down. Where did my other video go? Oh, I put that one over the top of that one somehow. So undo, 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 undo. Yeah, when I dragged it over, I replaced it. I replaced that video 2 somehow. So I want 3. Come on, give me another one. There we go. You kind of have to. My computer is being slow. I'm going to cut this one in half. So I'll turn off the sound of number 1 and number 2. That turns off the sound of track 1 and 2. So I can just hear number 1 and see where I start. Happens to be right there. So I'll scoot that over just a little bit to line up kind of with the beginning sound I see there. And again, those sound spikes here, that's unusual. It usually has a picture of the sound that helps you line things up. But I think because I'm recording this podcast or screencast recording, it's not happy. So I think if I get to the end of the clip, I'm sure... Ooh, it's not happy. Control S, save. Save before it crashes.
And it saves. You'll see that after this, but I'm going to record a second one.
Okay, so that's when I start my second one. I'm going to say C for cut, and it changes it to the cut feature, and I cut that, and I'm not going to try and add that second half. I'll have to remember in the next video. So I delete that, and this one is too big. Small, small, small. So I've got 3 videos. Right about there. It's really slow. It should be better in, most situations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll get this Brady Bunch thing happening. Let's see if I bring the audio back in from the others. Turn that back on, see how badly we're synced up. And number 3 is way early, so let's start him earlier. No, still not there.
Oh, wrong way. Sorry.
And the reason it's sounding terrible over here in the reds is because all the volume from all the different ones are too high, so you have to turn their volume. This line slider here is their volume. So I'll do that in a second. But for now, we can listen to the terrible audio. I think I need to go a little more this way. And here's where zooming in helps, because you make smaller movements. So zoom in, control, and the scroll wheel.
And I've hit play on my accompaniment in my ears.
Okay, so I noticed that it started right about there. So I want to drag that point over to where roughly the sound spike starts on this one. The sound wave you can see there.
Accompaniment in my ears. And go.
Okay, it's only just a hair early. Oh, but listen to the terrible sound. Okay, that's going to be close. Let's see what that did.
And go.
Oh, so out of tune. But that's not the point here, is it? Our students' instruments won't be perfectly in tune, and I should have a harmony in here. But the idea is that I'll make this video with blank space around the sides, and I'll add the other ones. I'll make this into a video, and then add it in, and then add the others on top of it. And it becomes really challenging. Like, I think there's a better way to do this, or some software, or you need a mega computer to make it work. I don't know, but I'm experimenting and it's working so far. And it's time consuming, but it's a valuable skill that I can teach the kids. I can show them how to do this work, and also it might be a good motivator. So I'll show you how to render this down. That's close enough. I should turn their volume down. So this on the audio tracks here, which should have these mountains for each one. I think the computer's just overwhelmed right now and it's not showing everything. I'm going to turn it down. So I click on this line and I make it smaller. That's 10 decibels. That's too much. -4. Sure, that's good. Negative. Try to turn them all down the same amount if they're the same thing. But here's where it might make more sense to mix these together in a audio track by itself, in Audacity or something. -8, whatever. Okay, -4. Let's see if that made it more bearable. So we're spiking a lot less there, but we still could turn down just a little bit. Ooh, 13, that's too much. Okay, 10, 9, so it's just when you add up all these sound sources, and I'm sure I'm doing this wrong, but it seems to work okay. So somebody else can tell me what I'm doing wrong and I'll learn. Okay, so that's good enough. How do you make the video come out now? So you've got this project. Oh, and you press Control S for save. Don't forget to save when you're doing complicated projects. I'm going to export, and it says in out area or the contents, and that has to do with this blue bar here. And I'm going to zoom out again. Control, click in the editor. Control, and I'm going to say in this blue bar here, should be a blue bar here. How did I get that? So you could say export contents, which means it'll start at the very beginning of something you have and go all the way to the end. But there's usually supposed to be this blue bar up here. I think I say right click, set to contents. It was blue on my old machine. This is different. So that the grayish bar, that says what the actual like chunk of video that you're working on is, the total chunk. So I'm going to export the contents or the in out area, because this is the in and the out punch. That's the words we use for recordings, in and out. When you're punching in and out or cutting from splicing in a spot. So I'm going to say contents, and I'll say, oh, hey, it's just reminding you have to go to the export page to actually export a video. And this is where you get a cup of coffee and wait, or walk away and hope that it doesn't crash in the middle of exporting. I think it should. And it says, oh, what kind of video do you want to make it? I don't want to make a 1080 because I don't think we need that much. 720 is fine. That's how many pixels. The bigger it is, the more juice it takes from the computer and the longer it takes. And the bigger the file too. So export, oops, that's not what I'm clicking. So I'm saying that's my next job in the list. And you say, sure, let's start exporting. The export button's down here. So, and we wait. Okay, all done. So now it's in my project, in my wherever I told it to export to. I think it's in it's in a file called HitFilm. There it is, HitFilm Express, and the exports page. So there it is. That just calls the editor too. You can name the file whatever you want in the program, and you can rename it here. Let's say 3 Mr. Jones lightly row, because there's 3 of me in it, just to remind myself that it's got a three-person thing. And, oh, success.
I'm a lucky guy. Okay, I'm hitting play on the smart music. So this is rolling. I know that my video is still recording. Play on my accompaniment in my ears.
And of course, there's a way to silence all the talking beforehand. I could show you that, but it's pretty easy. You're just cutting the video clips beforehand. It probably would be a good idea to trim each video clip to have no sound, and then when they come in, start playing, that you have the sound starting. But it's kind of cool to see the pre-roll.
Go.
Pretty good. I mean, it sounds terrible, but the togetherness, the sync is pretty good. So I've got that video in 3 pieces. Then I'm going to start a new project. So I'll just say new project, and I'll say save my old changes from the old one, just in case. Once you're done with all this, then you want to kind of clean things up and get rid of the old stuff. Or am I not back in there? Okay, project. Okay, it's thinking.
Okay, I froze it. I think I killed the program. Yeah. Control Alt Delete. Task Manager. And oh, are we no? No, we're still frozen. Okay, I'm gonna end that task. Yes, it is not responding. I
overloaded it. Plus, I'm just, trying to record a video at the same time. Good. Okay, make that go away and start hit film again. This time we're going to add those extra files on top of the 3 that we just made. You could make another 3 and stitch them together in a separate video too if you want. So, multiple ways to do this. So we'll add that.
And, okay, so big, new file. 720, 30 frames, sure, why not? Sounds good. I think that's what my screen recorder records at, so some of the files I use were screen recorder files. Okay, so I am going to import now the new one, plus that long one I had. Which one was it? Which one was the long one? I'll bring them all in. So these are all the downloaded videos. I'll look at which one I needed to bring in. You could do multiples of one if you wanted. And I gotta find my other one, which was in the HitFilm Express folder, exports, and there's 3 of me together. So that'll be our base as our reference. So that'll start there, and that's got me. Once you go forward through it, you'll see the other parts come in. Okay, so far so good. Was this the long one? Which one was the long one? 48, 27, 143, 252. 2 minutes 52, that's the long one. So that one has me playing harmony on the second half. So I will trim that one. So I press C to do the cut feature, and I'll say, is it right about there? Amazing stuff. It almost sets me with the harmony part. Okay, there's the harmony part. So back up a little bit and cut it right there. V for Victor is the select button that lets us go back to selecting. So you don't delete something unless you want to. And so then I'm pretty close. I'm going to slide this guy over because I think I'm going to have to do some adjusting. So let's see how bad it is. I go take the playhead over here. Too far. So it's going to start. You can look at my sound. And again, I don't have sound on this one. Why do I have the sound picture here? That's annoying. Must be just this computer is just overwhelmed. So I guess you might need a really awesome computer or the right software. Maybe iMovie does this easier, or maybe Adobe Premiere, the paid software, has a better solution. I don't know. But this works. Just takes time. But the result could be very valuable. Again. So that's too big. So kind of see it's more shift to make it the same ratio. Slide it over the top of myself. And here's the story of a scruffy teacher who was playing with his computer for his students. He wished they would play their instruments every day because they have lots of time. So play and see where we are. Look at that, the accompaniment. So further down with the harmony part. Okay, back up a little bit. I'm going to zoom in so I can get a finer slide here. Almost there, a little further back. More. So did you tell you what I did? No, but I'm recording right now. Why? What is it something you can share with the teachers? These are only for teachers. I dropped a whole pizza on the floor upside down. You did? And made a mark on the floor. Oh no. I'm hungry. Is there any pizza left? Okay, just a hair off, slide over just a little more. So the new part is just a little bit behind. So I will slide just ever so slightly to the right. Yeah. So the same problem of too much sound, right? It's over modulating, distorting, so it's going to turn me down about 12 decibels. Sweet. Let's see if we can add one more. So I'm going to take whatever this one. I did bass in the last part. I did an octave low. Let's add the bass. So zoom out so I can see what I'm doing here. And bass. Ka-chow. Above. I want to go above. New track, please. Okay, I'm just holding the button and sliding it around. There we go. It's tricky to get it to want to create a new track. This is not easy. You will be frustrated, but struggle through it. It's worth it. Okay, where do I start on this guy? I'm going to turn off the audio on number 2. So I can only hear number 1 and the new one, which is when I played bass, I think. Okay. Okay, so slide it over a little more. Whoa, did I just nail it? Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, I should save. So then I control S save. I'm going to name this one. I'll save it as A, because I'm just working over the top of the old one. And yes, I do want to replace it, because I'm just making a new one. So the bass sounds a little bit ahead. Usually basses aren't rushing. Cellos are rushing. So playing cello, so that seems appropriate. And I'll zoom in a little bit and just slide it. I'll click the top of the thing and it provides me with an adjustment thing of like how far are you moving it. So I moved it over, 3 frames? That 1925, if you can see where my mouse is, 1925. I think that's 3 frames. Not 3 seconds, but 3 frames of film. Yeah, there it is. Sounds terrible, but it is achieving our goal of multi-track video and student participation, hopefully. Although, again, this is hours and hours and hours of work if you really want to do several students. Or, so I'm having issues because the computer's slow. I think it's mostly, I'll add one more after I stop this recording. I think it's mostly just because of recording the screen at the same time. I hope. Okay, let's slide it over here. Yeah, it is not happy. My computer is it's going along, it's too much. Okay, I'm going to export before the computer crashes. So I got 5. And again, in that area are contents. I'll say contents, because that is just all the video
that I have. You can have the in-out area set for different things. And I don't want 1080. 720 is plenty. 720 is HD. 1080 is like full HD or something. And of course there's video resolutions above that too. So 720 does the job, and it's a quicker file to deal with. And especially since my camera, my web camera pictures, they're not great anyways. They're a very small resolution. I think it might be 720, but it's a fuzzy picture to start with, so who cares? 720 is plenty.
And we are talking a very, very, very short song here, you know, a minute long. And so with every minute that you add, it's got to be something short and sweet, unless you know somebody with video powers or a very powerful computer or both. Because, you know, a minute-long song with these 5 videos here has taken us, I don't know, half an hour to put together, roughly. And not very well, but, you know, it's something and it's cool. And it'll inspire kids, hopefully, to play and participate and use their technology and learn useful technology skills. But half an hour for this 1-minute video with five layers.
When you add another minute of time onto that, it like
adds another like 5 minutes of time
for each layer, because it's just kind of an exponential workload thing. So just a heads up, yeah, it's super labor intensive, but I think it's worth it. I can't tell. Barely any students are talking to me, so I honestly don't know if I'm hitting home or not. Okay, so we've got a 5er, and I'll probably stop there, take a look at it, and I'll add more before I share with you guys.
Okay, I'm hitting play on the smart music. This is rolling. I know that my video is still recording. Play on my
so annoying.
My ears. And go.
Pretty good, that works. Okay, I'll add some more to it and then put it all together and share with you guys soon. Okay, so
Bye, everybody. Bye, gamers. Or whatever they say. Peace.
I'm a lucky guy. Okay, hitting play on the smart music. This is rolling. I know that my video is still recording. Play on my accompaniment in my ears.
Go.
Go to back to the flip grid, and then I'll record the harmony part too. So I'll just let this roll. That would be back over to my flip grid, and you hit next, and then you make a selfie and you send it in, and it saves. You'll see that after this, but I'm going to record a second one